If you just recently started thinking about how to dress better and how to make up a closet that you really love, then this video is for you. I want to share a little bit about my experience of what has been these 10 years of me trying to figure out what I want to wear and how to get the closet that I dream of. Thinking about this 10-year journey, I really stopped and realized that there were certain phases that I went through in terms of what I was focusing more on developing in my wardrobe and in my personal style. And I thought it would be very interesting to share it with you and maybe give you some insight if you're stuck or you're just starting out and you really don't know where to start. In 2012, I realized that there was no thought process behind what I was wearing. I just wore anything that I thought looked fashionable or cute or that was cheap at the stores. And so I didn't really have a wide range of outfits, or I really didn't think about the composition of the outfits when I put them together. So the first phase I went through was to be more mindful while putting together outfits. And what that looked like for me was taking a few items out of my closet and trying to pair them with items that I would normally not pair them with. I think this phase was really important because it helped me to realize that I could make up a lot more outfits out of the clothes I already had than I originally had thought. It also allowed me to be more creative while putting together outfits and making things up that I would have never thought before. I think this is a really good first step if you really don't know where you want to go with your closet. It involves zero investment, so there's really no risk. What I would do differently today would be that I would take one specific piece, something maybe that I really want to wear, something that I really love, and I would try to mix and match it with as many other pieces possible in my closet. I would also take photographs of what I'm wearing so I can remember the outfits, and afterwards I can go back and analyze what I really enjoyed wearing and what I didn't. And there's no pressure for you to actually wear these out of the house. You could just do a dress up session by yourself at home and try these on for fun, and then you could just wear them out, the ones that you really like, and not wear the ones that you don't. So I went through that phase for a while, and in 2014, I found a really helpful blog called Putting Me Together, and it inspired me so much. It taught me so much. I will leave the link down below if you guys are interested in exploring it. And this was the phase when I started to experiment with styling. So instead of just putting on the clothes and that's it, I started experimenting with tucking in my shirt, doing a half tuck, doing a full tuck, doing a French tuck. I would roll up my sleeves, roll up the cuffs of my pants, and I would experiment with how that changed the silhouette and the fit of the clothing and how that changed the overall shape of the outfit. This is something that I didn't do previously. I just wore the clothes as is, just kind of flopped them on my body, didn't really tuck anything in, really didn't pay attention to what they were looking like. I also experimented at this point with belting my shirts and third pieces, so trying on cardigans and jackets and blazers, things that I would only wear out of necessity if it was cold outside, purely for functional reasons. I started trying and experimenting for aesthetic purposes. Again, this is a great place to start because it also requires zero investment. You don't need to buy anything new. You just need to experiment with changing up the way you wear the clothes that you already have. And styling an outfit really makes a big difference in how your overall look is composed. So I definitely encourage you to experiment this if you haven't already. Kind of the same time that I was doing that, I also started experimenting more with accessories. So I'm not just speaking about jewelry, but also shoes specifically, and also bags. If you're finding this video helpful up to now, I would love it if you would leave a like down below to let me know. Thank you. At that time, I remember that I bought a couple of belts because I was experimenting with belting my tops and wearing belts in general. So I bought a couple of belts and saw how I felt wearing them. I would also start paying attention to the shoes I was wearing instead of just putting on the normal everyday shoe that I always would wear, because that's what I did before. I had like a pair of comfy shoes. That's the one that was my go-to, and I really didn't think about the shoes I was wearing with the outfit. And at this point, I started paying attention to that. I also started wearing jewelry, something that I had never worn before. I would never wear earrings or necklaces or any type of jewelry at all. And I really made an effort to try to accessorize a little bit more with jewelry because I found that it made a difference in the overall look of my outfits. A really easy way to do that, if you were like me and aren't really used to wearing jewelry, is to start simple. So I bought a necklace and I wore that necklace with everything. It just really went with most of my outfits, so I would remember to put that necklace on instead of being overwhelmed thinking, oh, I have to choose a certain necklace or certain jewelry to put on. It was my go-to accessory, so I would wear that almost every time I got dressed, and that really helped me get into the habit of putting on jewelry. So if you're not into that habit, I would suggest you buy one thing. Maybe it's earrings, maybe it's rings, maybe it's a watch, or maybe it's a necklace like mine, and just repeatedly keep wearing it every day until you get used to putting it on. And at one point you will figure out that when you go out of the house and you don't have it, you're gonna miss it. And that's the point where you probably already have that in your routine, and you could probably invest in a few more pieces because you're probably gonna wear them. This phase does require a little bit of investment because you're gonna have to buy accessories if you don't have them, or you could just find whatever you have around the house. Maybe you already have a few accessories that you never use, belts and different kind of shoes that you just don't use, and try using them and switching things up. But if you have like basic sneakers or basic flats and you don't have anything else, then I encourage you to spend a little bit of money and try new things and really think about how that different piece will impact in your outfit. Another thing I started doing that I didn't do before was to create a color palette for my closet. And this wasn't overnight because this phase does require that you invest a little bit more. I remember that when I discovered the blog Putting Me Together, I tried a 10 by 10 challenge, I think, or it was a 30 by 30 challenge, something like that, where you had 10 items of clothing and you would wear only those 10 items for 10 days. And it was a total fiasco because nothing in my closet really mixed and matched well with the other because I didn't have a color palette. So the next times I went shopping, and I don't really recommend this because I went overboard. I got a little bit too excited and I bought a whole bunch of clothing, a lot of pieces that I ended up not wearing. But I really stuck to a certain color palette at that moment. And a few years went by when I was gradually building on that color palette, that initial color palette that I had. And one day I went into a store, I think it was maybe a Marshall's, and I went to the fitting room to try something on. And to my surprise and delight, the clothing that I was trying on actually went really well with whatever I had on already. So my own clothing was mixing and matching really well with the clothing that I was thinking of buying. And that's because I was following a certain color palette. And every time I went into a store, a fitting room, and tried something on, I would be excited to see that things were starting to come together. And my closet at one point started being so mixable and matchable that I could probably reach in and grab any pieces of clothing that at least color-wise, they would go together. If you're just starting out and you really don't want to start investing in new pieces, I would say that you look inside your closet, see what color palette you kind of already have. So see what colors are most present in your closet and try to create a color palette based on what you already have. Maybe that's going to mean excluding a few pieces, but if you pick out neutrals and then just 2 or 3 colors, you can create a cohesive color palette within what you already have, and I guarantee you that's going to make a whole difference and a lot more easy when you're trying to put together outfits. By this point, I had a lot of tools under my belt and definitely felt that I was more mindful in terms of what I was putting into my closet and how I was putting my outfits together. But one thing that was really lacking still was being more mindful about my personal style. So right now I was just putting things together that were cohesive and that looked cute together, but I really wasn't thinking about how I wanted to present myself. I didn't think about my style words, and I'll link that video somewhere down here or up here for you guys to watch if you're interested in knowing more about that. And it wasn't until recently that I got sucked into honing into my style. So remember that this all started in 2012 and really geared up in 2014, but the more consciousness of style, I think, started around 2019. So it took a full 5 years for me to actually pay more attention on my personal style. Something that I've also been doing since 2014 is taking pictures of my outfits. So I have a really large library of outfits that I've been wearing during all these years, and it's really fun and insightful to look back on those outfits and realize why I loved some of them and why some of them just didn't feel quite like me. So I really also do recommend that you start taking photos of your outfits, because that's going to give you a lot of insight, and photos of your outfits are free. So it's a great tool that you don't have to spend any money to invest in. And last but not least, something I'm currently working on and that I hadn't paid attention to at all for all this time, all these years, is really buying clothes that suit my body. One thing that has become really clear to me is that fashion, personal style is all about the journey and not about the destination. I don't think I'm ever really going to get to a place where I am 100% satisfied with my closet, although I am super satisfied with it the way it is right now, but it's always changing and evolving because I'm always changing and evolving. So focus on the journey and not the destination. If you do need a little bit more help and insight with putting together your wardrobe and maybe a capsule wardrobe, check out this playlist next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.